Yeah, my name is Paul Dawalibi. I'm the CEO of RAK Digital Assets Oasis. I have spent most of my career building and starting and running technology companies. I'm a unicorn founder. I'm also the host of Game Changers on CNBC Arabia, and I love what I do. It's a great question. Why am I in RAK? Well, fundamentally, I've spent most of my career on one side of the startup table or another. I was either building companies or funding them or exiting them. And most of that career was spent around technology. Now, I had some success in this space. I had some big exits. I had one company which I took public in 2017. And as a consequence, governments in the Middle East reached out to me looking to help set up ecosystems here, startup ecosystems here, gaming ecosystems here. And so that's what attracted me to the Middle East in the first place, this idea of building ecosystems around technology, startups, and gaming. RAK was the result of a few years of working for governments in the region, the government in Dubai, government in Abu Dhabi, government in Saudi Arabia. And those were interesting times. I was helping those governments, I was working with them. But as a consultant, you're only capable of doing so much. You can make 100 recommendations and hope they do all of them, but in reality, they often only do the first two. As the CEO of a free zone here in RAK, and what was really exciting about this opportunity for me was to come and build something that was not possible anywhere else. What I wanted to do in RAK was to bring everything that I had learned from my past history, all of my experience with startups, all of my experience with ecosystems, and bring it to what I would consider the startup emirate, the place where business and innovation is coming, the place that's going to have the first casino in the Middle East. What was really exciting for me was the ability to build something here from the ground up within the confines of a free zone around technology and startup ecosystems. Ras Al Khaimah is an amazing place to both work and live. And unfortunately, as the CEO of a free zone, I don't have that much free time. So I would love to say I spend all my time golfing or at the beach, which are both available in RAK, but unfortunately, I don't have that much time for those things. Now, I think what's really special about living and working here, though, is you're outside of the mess and the chaos of Dubai or Abu Dhabi. You don't have the traffic. You don't have people on top of people. You don't have the extremely high cost of living of some of those other places. So it really is incredibly livable. There's much more nature. You have mountains and sea and desert all in the same place. It really is a very special place that I don't think you find anywhere else in the Middle East. Ras Al Khaimah is the startup emirate, and it's really the growth story in the UAE. This is the place where so many exciting things are going to be happening over the next few years. You're going to see a huge influx of tourists as a consequence of the Wynn casino opening. This will be the first casino in the Middle East. You're seeing, as a consequence of that excitement, huge numbers of businesses coming here, setting up here, wanting to live and work here, having an alternative to Dubai or Abu Dhabi. And because of the businesses and the tourism coming, as a consequence, you're going to see the population really explode here. Today, there are about 400,000 people living in RAK. You have about 4 million people living in Dubai. But the GDP of Ras Al Khaimah is 1/40th that of Dubai, despite being 1/10 the population. And so I see that as an opportunity for anyone who comes here to really experience and be at the cusp of this hockey stick growth that's going to happen here. Now, what I'm most excited about, obviously, is the growth of my free zone and bringing essentially the Silicon Valley of the Middle East to Ras Al Khaimah, bringing the technology and innovation world here that will come here as a consequence of all the excitement and hype around the emirate. That is what I'm most personally excited about. What is my professional purpose? This is always an interesting question and something that is very near and dear to me, because purpose is what drives you. It's why you get up in the morning. It's usually what makes people do what they do. I've been very fortunate and blessed in my career to have had success. And so at this point in my career, what I'm really looking for is opportunities to build great things, to build things that have lasting value, to build organizations and build structures that employ thousands and support thousands of families. Building is at the core of why I do what I do. Now, officially in RAK, I wear two hats. As the CEO of RAK Digital Assets Oasis, I'm looking to build the greatest innovation and technology free zone in the world. That is my purpose. My goal is to attract the best and brightest talent, companies, people from all over the world to come build their companies here in Ras Al Khaimah. Now, the second hat I wear as a government employee is dedicated to the success of RAK as an emirate. That is my purpose, to make sure that RAK as an emirate succeeds and thrives and grows. And to that extent, I'm always thinking about how can we attract more smart people, more startups, more entrepreneurs, people with purpose of their own to come here and build and to come here and succeed. And so that purpose extends from me to my professional endeavors, but it really is at its core all about building. It's about building something great, something lasting, something that will have the impact on thousands and thousands of lives over the next however many decades. Now, asking the CEO how he solves problems, I think, is always the right question to ask, because as CEO, I consider myself a chief problem solver. Fundamentally, my job on a daily basis is to address the problems of the business, address the problems of the people. And the problems I solve internally and the way I solve problems for customers really is one and the same. It all starts with listening. Because if you're not listening, you don't understand the problem, it becomes impossible to solve it. And so listening carefully, what is the problem? What is the core of the issue? Who's involved? Who's accountable? Who's responsible? If you don't understand all of these components, solving the problem becomes impossible. Now, once it gets to the implementation of the problem solving, my solution usually is simple. Like most other things I do, I look for simplicity. I get everyone in the room. I hate trying to solve problems at a distance. I really dislike finger pointing. I don't think any of these things are useful in the long run. And so really I try and put the people, the actual people who are experiencing the problem physically in the same room and try to be a mediator between those people to solve the issue at hand. To me, having people in the room, focusing on solving the problem and not finger pointing and listening are really the three components to problem solving. Again, whether it's internally or with a customer, the process is exactly the same. As a free zone, we fundamentally offer the same product that any other free zone offers, right? When you think about what a free zone sells, it's three things. It's a business license, it's a visa to live and work in the UAE, and it's a desk, a place to work. Now, every free zone will offer you these same three things. What is unique, I think, about what we're trying to build here at RAK Digital Assets Oasis is we're hyper-focused on supporting innovation and technology companies. What that means is we understand the problems that these entrepreneurs face. We understand their pain points. We understand what they're looking for, the kinds of solutions they're looking for. And so we can tailor everything we do, right from the service itself, the product itself, but also how the product is delivered and how that service is delivered. We can tailor that entire experience specifically to innovation and technology companies. This, I think, is quite unique to our free zone and where we really strive to be better. Now, there's also, I think, a unique selling proposition in me being here, having lived the life of an entrepreneur, having been through that, having been in the trenches, having understood what those pain points are, and having experienced it myself. I can relate to the companies that choose to come here. I can relate to what they're going through, and I can add value just through my own experience. Fundamentally, if I, as a CEO, don't care about the success of the companies that choose to come here, the free zone itself will never be successful. And I try to put this in everything we do. We can't just sell a license and a visa and a desk. We have to genuinely care about the success of the companies that come here. Because if they're successful, the free zone is successful. And so we're always thinking about not just what can we sell to the customer, what can we provide the customer, but we're always thinking about how can we support the customer? What can we do to help them succeed? Maybe it's an introduction. Maybe it's giving them some event space to hold a little networking event for free. Maybe it could be anything. It's we know someone, we've been with someone, we've been in this position. It's maybe just a piece of advice. At the end of the day, we speak the language of startups and technology and innovation. And I think that makes a world of difference to our customers versus being somewhere where, maybe they're sitting next to the bakery and sitting next to the factory and sitting next to the warehouse, and none of those people are going through the same things they are. And I think the final unique selling proposition is community. Because you're around people who are like-minded. And in fact, this is the promise of Silicon Valley. This is the main reason Silicon Valley has succeeded. It's because so many smart people converge on such a small physical area that it's inevitable you'll bump into people who are like-minded, bump into people who can help you, bump into people who are going through the same things as you. That community is what makes a free zone successful, what makes an ecosystem successful, and why I think RAK DAO is the place to be if you are operating in this technology and innovation world. I have lived the startup life from just about every angle. I've been totally broke. I've looked that sort of abyss in the eye, that knowledge that maybe I won't make payroll this week. I've lived that journey, that very, very tough, painful journey of an entrepreneur. And most people don't even realize how tough it is. If you look at the numbers, on average, an entrepreneur takes 6 years to get to a successful outcome in their business. And on average, an entrepreneur is not successful until their third business. So when you think about it, that journey for any entrepreneur is an 18 to 20 year commitment. It's a long time. And for the most part, it's quite miserable commitment because you're very alone. You're always sort of on the verge of death. It is really, really a tough journey. And having lived it myself, I think I can relate to it in a very personal way. I understand what entrepreneurs are going through from a business standpoint, but also a psychological, emotional standpoint. And so when entrepreneurs come here, when they choose to set up their company here, really, I think the way I add value is I support those companies in two ways. Myself, through my own network, through the people I know, through understanding the journey and lending that mentorship and that piece, that advice that I can give. The second way, though, is just through my sector expertise, because every sector you operate in, if you're a gaming company, if you're a Web3 company, if you're a robotics company, you're an AI company, each of these sectors has their own specific pain points. And unless you've been exposed to those sectors, they're not all the same in terms of what they're looking for and what's important to them. I'll give you an example. Most gaming companies don't need to raise any venture capital. They don't need to meet investors. This may be the case for many other technology companies. But the main pain point for gaming companies is they need publishers. They need publishers who will support them, who will publish their game, who will support the completion of their game, the marketing of their game, user acquisition. You need to have worked and lived in gaming to understand this. And this is the value, the specific value that I think I bring, which is a deep understanding of the pain points of each of these sectors that we play in, and a deep understanding of the psychology of the entrepreneur and what they're going through. Now, the way that manifests at RAK DAO is through me directly, obviously, but also I really push the team to think in the same way. I build the team around this kind of expertise, around this kind of mindset. And so even if you never interact with me at RAK DAO, which I try and interact with every customer that comes through the door, anyone you touch on my team has the same mindset, can access the same skills, can bring the same value. So it doesn't just end with me, it really is part of the entire offering. What would I recommend to newcomers to Ras Al Khaimah? I think you have to really, really embed yourself in the ecosystems here. You have to really get involved. And this means meeting people, because just coming here and hoping good things will happen, I mean, that's not the case anywhere. But RAK has a lot to offer. Many smart people, free zones like ours that can support your success, networking events, all kinds of places where you can go and meet people, like-minded people. But it requires action. It requires you to actually physically go and do this. And so my advice would be get involved, meet as many people as you can, and maybe most importantly, show value. If you're a young entrepreneur and you're looking to make your way or have an impact or get embedded in a community, think about giving before you get. Because sometimes people go in and they want something from someone. That often doesn't work. My advice always is provide, give value, show to someone that you can do something for them first. And I guarantee in the long run, that all comes back to you. This is the way you enter an ecosystem. This is the way you enter a new emirate, a new place to live, a new business community. Show value to people, and it will come back to you in the long run. So I love this question. 3 objects from my office that are important to me. And I picked 3, although I probably could have picked 10. Let me start with the one that's maybe the most silly. This is a knife. This is a knife from a game called Apex Legends. It's a game I played professionally, and I was given this knife because I played in ALGS Season 1. I was signed to a Tier 1 Esports org, means I played for money. And the knife has special meaning to me because I did this at a very old age, when almost all of my competitors were half my age or less than half my age. And I like it because it's a reminder that it doesn't matter what age you are, what stage you are at in your career, almost anything is possible to achieve. And it's a good reminder to me to stay sharp. Stay sharp mentally, stay sharp emotionally, stay young emotionally, and to never stop having fun. But it's part of my gaming history, and it's an important object to me. The second item from my office that's important to me is my book. So this is Metaverse Dream. This was published by Sloan, which is a very famous coffee table book publisher. You've probably seen these books in many stores, many hotels, many nice places all around the world. This is part of their travel series. And I co-authored this book with a friend of mine, Gregory Landegger. And it's all about the future. It's my vision of the future. It's what I think about the future. It's where I think the future is going. And the metaverse was the hot topic of its day. But the core message stays the same, which is that at some point, what is real and what is virtual will really become one and the same. That we won't be able to tell the difference at some point, and this will change humanity forever. I love this book. There's a lot of beautiful pictures in it. Some very close friends have quotes in this book, and it always sits on my desk. Now, the third, and I left this last but not least, this is Oh, the Places You'll Go by Dr. Seuss. It's another book, but I always say this is the most important, this is the greatest leadership book ever written. And I used to give this to every employee who ever worked for me in any of my startups, because the message in this book is, it really transcends any typical self-help or leadership book. This is not about business. This is not about how to make more money. But in some ways, the lessons in this book are what will allow you to be successful in business and allow you to make more money. It is all about overcoming obstacles, all about staying true to yourself, and at the end of the day, getting to that successful point. But it's about the journey. And the journey for almost everyone has its perils and has its ups and downs, but eventually you get there. I love this book. It means everything to me. It's in every office I've ever worked in. And to me, if you haven't read this, you have to. It's the most important reading you'll do, probably in your career and in your lifetime. Those are the three objects I love from my office.